Well, we are back here on Open. I want to let you know the demand for content creators is soaring with social media and different avenues at our disposal. Many people are turning to this market, and the question is, well, where do you start? And so we've got a lead transmedia producer. He's also an adjunct lecturer at the New School University and the First School, graduate school, I should say, of cinema. And we've got Steele Filipek. If you don't know about him, he's an accomplished writer. He's done some writing projects with Men in Black, Transformers, worked on comic books, and including television, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we have the luxury of having him sit right here with us in studio. So good to have you, Steele.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So when we talk about, being a content creator, obviously we hear the word, but for somebody who doesn't know what a content creator is, explain.
So everybody understands the filmmaking world, making films, making television, but there's also the world of webisodes, of streaming television, social media, creating narratives and stories on multiple platforms that can speak to each other. Look at the top YouTube creators. They're not just broadcasting on YouTube. They also have a major social media presence, and they're speaking with their fans and engaging with their fans on that platform, on platforms like Patreon, on platforms like Kickstarter, where they're eliciting help from their fans and creating narratives with them. And so part of what Starlight Runner does is we help brands as large as Men in Black and as small as independent rock stars create a better presence, a better multimedia experience for their fans, for their brand, for the stories that they tell.
So when somebody's getting started, right, they've got great aspirations. We all have great aspirations. Really being able to turn the corner, what are some of the foundational things that a person should do?
People need to feel free to fail. People need to work as much as they can, get their friends together, shoot terrible, terrible videos. They don't have to show them to anybody,
right.
But everybody wants to have the perfect thing right off the bat, and that's so rare because you wouldn't run a marathon without having trained, without having gone through this process. And the same way for creating content, you need to create it, you need to fail, learn from your failures, and mark it down. Take notes. What did I not do as well this time as I should do next time? And then each time you do it, you'll find a better way. You'll find the project is becoming better. There's a saying that the best script you write is the next one. You should always be looking to learn and fail, and feel free to fail.
So talk to me, because as I said in our intro, he's an accomplished writer, and if you know, some of his scripting has appeared in projects related to Halo, Red Faction, Men in Black, Splinter Cell, as well as Transformers. And so for a person such as you, being able to turn the corner, get there, what were some of the keys for you in getting there? We hear these great movies, we hear these great things that you've written in, but we know that there's some work that has to be put in.
Yeah. So I started out. I started out as a quality assurance tester for Showtime for a product that they never actually quite launched. But that's another story for another time.
Another show.
Right. but that gave me the network to be able to reach out to people and ask them questions and learn from mentors, learn from people who were heroes of mine in the past. John Collier, who wrote for The Simpsons, and Charlie Rubin, who was a writer on Seinfeld and a professor of mine, just being able to engage with them and ask them questions and learn from their experience, in a casual setting. And some people are kind of worried about networking. How am I going to reach out to these people? How am I going to, actually network? Maybe I'm an introvert. And I say that if you're going out to a bar with friends, if you're cooking a meal with your colleagues, that's networking. And most people who are in the industry are more than happy to help and answer questions if you reach out to them in a polite manner with one or two questions that you can't just Google yourself. Find their production house, find their production studio, find the contact, ask if you could speak to them, and maybe wait a few months down the road before showing your portfolio. But if you just kind of have that, have that oomph to go out there and speak to somebody, they'll probably speak back to you.
Well, speak to me about this word. This begins with the letter I. It's what we have here at BronxNet. We have a lot of interns, and interns is a major step forward for a lot of people. Talk to us about the power of internship.
Internships can be great if you know what you're doing. Having the goal that you want to have for your career in front of you at all times. So some people want to be famous. Some people want to make money. Some people just want to work in the industry. Use the internship to work for you. If you want to be famous, well, there are lots of steps down the road. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but if you want to work in the industry, make sure that you are engaging with people, making sure that you're going the extra mile in these internships, and make sure that if you have access to facilities, if you have access to content, if you have access to equipment, try and use that as much as possible. I mean, people will be spending thousands of dollars after graduation, after their internship, to rent this equipment, to rent these facilities. If you have access to it now, do it. It doesn't matter if it's terrible. Get used to holding it in your hands.
Yeah, get the information right now while you have it present and available.
Yeah.
For people who want to get connected to you and say, listen, I've heard your stuff. I really want to, think about doing this content creator piece. What do they do?
If they want to contact me, they can contact me directly on Twitter. Please send me a direct message at Words of Steele. With my name, WORDSOFSTEELE.
It's the bottom of the screen, don't worry. It's there.
Or at my email address, which is steele.filipek@gmail.com. They can feel free to reach out and ask me. Please don't send me content without speaking to me first. I won't open any unsolicited scripts, but I will speak to you about broader things in the industry.
Give me a quick understanding as to what are some of the common mistakes people make in script writing.
Script writing, people tend to not think about the characters and their goals. The characters wander about the scripts, they wander about the stories, and they don't really go anywhere. If a character has a goal, and that goal, they must achieve that goal. They must seek vengeance. They must find love. They must get the money. They must do something. Then you are halfway there, because so many of the scripts that I read that are in the slush pile, they're just about meanderings and about misgivings and about little family dramas. Things need to be strong, and a character needs to want something. And if you've got that, that will make me interested in your script, at least at the very beginning.
For you, best script ever written?
Ever written.
No, best script that you ever written. Yeah.
Oh, the best script that I've ever written? I wrote a script for Ninja Turtles, an inventory script called Brothers Keepers, and that was a real touchstone in my life, because I grew up with the Ninja Turtles, and to be able to be working on that project and to be able to write that script and just see behind the scenes, go to Nickelodeon Studios in Burbank, meet the showrunners. That was where my career really took a next step, and the fact that it was some part of my childhood made it that much better.
The worst script you ever written that you feel like you want to recreate?
Oh, jeez. Man, I wrote a biopic called The Bicycle Boys about the Wright brothers, and it was terrible. And I look at it now, and I'm like, well, you know what? This is bad, but I can see what I would become later on. And even the worst scripts I've written, I've gone back and I've looked in, and there's been some element, a character, a story choice, something that I could use later on. And that's also what I'm going to tell other aspiring writers. Don't feel bad about cannibalizing your own work, particularly the bad stuff that you're never going to show anybody. If there's that one good moment, put that in a drawer and save it. I have a whole file called gags, the jokes from scripts that just didn't work, but that are funny, and I want to maybe plot in someplace else. So keep on that.
Wow, make your own file, right? So you're educated, real quick before we go. Is there a great hunger for this particular field, being a content creator?
Absolutely. There are so many fields that are open for it. Obviously, everybody's looking at streaming networks like Netflix and Hulu, but YouTube, marketing, branding, you have local TV stations, you have national TV stations, you've got new journalism, you've got video games, independent video games. If you've ever wanted to create a video game, now is the time to do it. It used to take hundreds of people to to create a massive video game. Now you can have a studio of 10 people and create something that's relatively impressive compared to the big boys. So, get out there, try and find your passion, and don't just pigeonhole yourself into one thing. Try everything, and maybe you'll find something. I do audio drama as well, and that's something that's coming back in a major way. And you just need 2 people, a microphone, and a script, and you're ready to go. Nothing else.
Steele Filipek, thank you for coming and sharing with us. Get connected with him on Words of Steele, and I guarantee you that you'll get some guaranteed information, and then not just some information. What he's going to do is he's going to look at this while I'm going. He's going to review my script while we go to break, and we're going to make sure we're going to be right by the time we come back. Taking a quick break, we'll be back with more. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.